guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be doing a mod tutorial, I guess you could say, for the Nerf Strike Elite FireStrike. Now, when I say mod tutorial, all we're going to be doing is removing the air restrictor in this, and there's not really any more mods you need to do to this. You can put Teflon tape under the O-ring, however, I don't have any Teflon tape with me at the moment, so I won't be doing that. But other than that, it's really a simple mod, and if I didn't know better, and I may not know better, they might actually be doing this. This has got to be one of the easiest Nerf guns to modify. The air restrictor in this is so easy to get to and removes just by simply opening up the blaster. It just really surprised me, and I'm really glad to see Nerf is doing this. It may not be that they're just necessarily, I guess you could say, what would you call it, encouraging modifications, but they definitely made it easy with the FireStrike. So the two things you're going to need besides Teflon tape if you're going to do the O-ring is screwdrivers, okay? Just the screwdrivers to get the screws out, and that's pretty much it. Maybe a small flathead screwdriver for something internally, but other than that, it's really that easy. You remove all the screws, they're all the same size, so it's really easy. We've gone ahead and done that just to save time. You can also need to remove the battery door. Then you can go ahead and pry open the two halves of the shell, making sure not to lose your Strike rail attachment piece there. Go ahead and pull this up. It can be on the left side or the right side. It just simply slides in, and this is what actually holds your darts in the 2-dart holder. So inside here we have the internals, which are really pretty simple and fairly comparative to the Nite-Finder. Pretty much the same, just with a few minor details. Go ahead and remove our Strike attachment rail there, or piece there, and go ahead, and I like to remove the catch spring because I had one fly off on me and could never find it, so definitely want to remove that if you can. Then you can go ahead and remove all your internals by simply lifting up on the back plunger rod here and the front barrel portion, and it all kind of lifts out of place. Now your laser is still attached by wire, so you're going to go ahead and just pull that out of the socket there and set that back down. Your trigger might come loose, it's no big deal. You can go ahead and set this aside. There's nothing else you need to do with this. Here are the internals itself. Now if you need a quick picture, there you go. That's what they look like from the top and from the side. It's very simple. You can go ahead and remove your plunger. As you can see, the spring itself, I believe, is the same as a Nite-Finder spring, in all honesty. I think it's very close. It might be a little bit stronger. It's a very tough spring. As you can see, I cannot depress it with 2 hands, so that's pretty good. The catch is a little bit different. They've gone with the direct trigger, I guess you could say. The trigger piece actually pushes the catch and is now rounded off and stuff, so it's a really nice design and it works pretty smooth. The plunger head is a little bit different as well. It looks like they got rid of the screw, and you can actually, wow, that's actually rubber, so it's actually a rubber bumper. Wow, I didn't notice that until just now. This is actually like a rubber piece in here, so that's pretty cool. I'm not sure exactly how you remove the plunger head. I'm sure there's a way. I just haven't really looked into it because I don't need to put a new spring on it, but there's probably a way somehow. You guys can figure that out on your own. But on to the next portion of the blaster. Pretty simple design here as well. This piece here is just for color, and it actually just snaps up by pulling up on the 2 top pieces here. That just comes off like that. Then you have this front piece here, which you can get off. It's a little bit difficult. You don't really even need to. Now there are 2 latches, one on this side. Hopefully it shows up on my camera. One on this side and one on this side. Now this is where the screwdrivers come in handy. If you just take your small little flathead and gently pry up on this underneath, you don't want to break it off, obviously, so just kind of push forward on that. It'll snap off on that side, or excuse me, pop off. You don't want it to snap, so just do that to both sides. Comes apart, and you can just pull this. Oops, this one went back on there like that, and it actually might shoot off. This piece really isn't necessary. There is a release hole inside the barrel. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that. It's right on this side, right underneath this piece. I'm sure you could seal that with hot glue. However, I don't think it really affects it because the Elite Dart actually covers it. So I'm not sure exactly how that works, but we'll see if I might plug that with hot glue a little bit later. But as of now, I don't think it's necessary. Now this is a perfect example of how an air restrictor works. If we go ahead and take our plunger rod here, as you can see, these 3 prongs move up and down, and whenever you push on this, the air escapes, but very easily. It's not like a full impact. As you can see here, if I hold these open and I push the plunger rod, it hits the top of the plunger tube very hard. However, if I do this, there's a resistance to it. And as you can see, I popped it off there. We'll get to that in a second. But there's a resistance there that allows for your not to harm it, and it's really quiet whenever you dry fire. Now that only hurts range because of the way this works. When the dart is in, it pushes those prongs. Therefore, once the dart leaves, all the rest of the air that's still in here doesn't actually escape the barrel until after your dart's left the barrel. So if you know how to use your dart or your blasters and you don't want to damage them and stuff, obviously you want to leave these in. However, if you don't dry fire blasters, it won't do you any harm to take that out, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Easiest way to do that is go ahead and grab these two little, I guess you could say, nubs here that really just you can just pry off like that. You'll get the air restrictor piece here. You have the standard air restrictor spring, and then the front portion of the air restrictor casing, I guess you could say, with the dart tooth. You can remove the dart tooth, however, I personally don't see any reason to. It does not affect, it's not going to affect your range at all, so I leave it in there just because it makes it, I think, you know, a little bit less hassle. Obviously, you don't have to mess with it, and a little less time when modifying. Now, as you've seen whenever I pressed on this, you can actually push this piece out as well, and there's nothing really here. I would not recommend removing this because then you have just dead space. If anything, I would recommend filling this in with hot glue. Not the edge around here, that's where your air has to come through, but this place where the spring was, I would recommend filling with hot glue. It might help you a little bit, but I don't see it being that big of a difference. Now, once you've done that, you can actually push this piece back on, and you're good to go. And you can go ahead and do that like that. We're going to take our plunger tube out. Now, whenever you go to put this into your blaster, remember, there is a correct way to put this piece on, okay? As you can see here on the plunger tube, you have the two little screw holes here, and then the nubs that hold it in place. Now, what you want to make sure you do is make sure you have it lined up to where this will fit down in here correctly. This is not the correct way. You want to flip it over and make sure the screws line up. Once you've done that, then you can go ahead and put your front barrel piece back on. We're going to go ahead and straighten this out just a tiny bit there. You don't have to, but I do just because I'm picky, I guess you could say. So go ahead and make sure that's a little bit straight there. Then you can go ahead and put this back on. Now the reason for that obviously is so that you don't accidentally put it in like this and then everything doesn't line up. So you want to make sure, go ahead and put the plunger tube in before you attach the front piece, just to make sure everything's correct. Once you've done that, once that snaps back in, you can go ahead and put the top, I guess you say color accent back in by just simply lining it up with the nub here and pushing down on it. Just like that, and it goes right in. Go ahead and take your laser out, place it inside the laser compartment, and slide everything back into place. Now, before you put it all the way in, obviously you want to put your plunger tube in, make sure it's the correct way. And this spring has to come in the rest back here. It's pretty simple to as a Nite-Finder. However, you do want to make sure that gets into the correct place right there. Go ahead and slide everything down. Go ahead and put your yes, I cannot think right now. The catch release spring, the catch spring back in, and go ahead and slide your catch into place as well. So just go ahead and slide that in. Make sure everything's pressed down the way it's supposed to be. Remember to put your little rail attachment piece back in. That's the most common error I make every single modification. So go ahead and make sure you put that in, like so. Then you can go ahead and take your other half of the shell, push it back on, make sure everything goes in nice and easy, and go ahead and attach all your screws. To save time, we won't be doing that, but that's really all there is to it. Now you should be able to see an increased range. I'm going to hold my blaster together here and fire, and that seems to give it a little bit more, I guess you could say, power to it. I wouldn't say it's overly amazing, but it does make it a little bit, shoot a little bit harder and obviously get you a little bit more distance. Now we'll be comparing in our range test of the FireStrike, we'll be comparing the modified FireStrike to the stock FireStrike, as well as comparing it to a modified Nite-Finder and a stock Nite-Finder. Be looking for that video as soon as possible. I'll get it up as soon as possible once the weather prohibits, or once the weather allows me to, because we have wind most of the time, but every now and then we get a good day, so I'll have to wait for one of those days. But that's really all there is to it. Obviously, you could put a little bit of Teflon tape under the O-ring on the plunger. I don't think it's really necessary. It may give you a little bit better seal. Overall, I think it's definitely one of the easiest to modify, and it's great for beginners. If you're not used to it, I would definitely recommend it. So, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this has helped. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below. If you could spare me 2 seconds and give me a thumbs up and a subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. And go check out my other videos if you haven't already. Thanks everybody, and have a nice day.